Hey, bud, what'd you think, man? Let me know some things about what can we expect from you?
Fireworks.
Fireworks. You ready, bud?
That's the fight that everybody want to see. Yeah. I want to do it.
Do you respect him as like when he's like, I got a couple fights left, I'm at the end, I'm only trying to get mega fights, so.
I understand.
Terence Crawford shocked the boxing world by accepting Jaron Ennis' challenge at super middleweight for all his belts, a fight he had never even entertained before.
And like I said before, you know, that's my obligation in the contract, and I gotta honor that if, you know, that's the next move for me and my.
However, while being interviewed as he prepared for his upcoming fight, Ennis claimed that he was more than willing to move up to the super middleweight division if it meant getting a title shot against Crawford. He made it clear that he was ready to step into that weight class in 2026 for the opportunity. This bold statement would put him in almost the exact same situation that Terence Crawford himself experienced, leaving the welterweight division behind, taking a single fight at 154 and then making the immediate jump straight into the super middleweight division.
Terence Crawford against Jaron Ennis, for me, is the best fight in American boxing. But it needs to be a payday for Crawford that would get him interested, because Crawford knows how good Boots is. And I'm not saying that Crawford thinks he's going to lose to Boots, but he knows that is a real fight. But for me, Boots is the new Crawford.
Interestingly, Terence Crawford held a victory parade in his hometown of Omaha just hours later. And during a follow-up interview about Jaron Ennis' statements, he openly expressed his willingness to take on the challenge. Beyond that, he delivered a direct message to Ennis, urging him to take the necessary steps if he truly wanted the fight. If it's at 168, then send the contract. I'll do it at 168 for sure, Crawford declared. This was further reinforced by Jaron Ennis' promoter, Eddie Hearn, who described it as the single best fight that could be made in boxing today.
You know, without him, you know, really wanting to fight and putting forth the effort into doing what he can do along with me to get this fight done, we wouldn't be fighting. So it's only right that I give him that same, you know,
I want and I need. So after I do my thing, you know, Saturday night and be victorious, you know, I feel like it's only big name fights from here on out. You know, only main event headlines and pay-per-view headline, pay-per-view fighting. So that's my goal.
Matchroom boxing head Eddie Hearn revealed that talks were ongoing for Terence Crawford to face former unified welterweight champion Jaron "Boots" Ennis, who is set to make his 154 lb debut on October 11th against Wismar Lima. Crawford versus Ennis is, for me, the best fight in American boxing, Hearn told reporters on Wednesday. But it has to be a major payday to get Crawford interested, because he knows how good Boots is. I'm not saying Crawford believes he'd lose, but he knows it's a real fight. For me, Boots is the new Crawford. We just need the big fights to prove how great he is.
Fight that makes a whole lot of sense, and the fight that stylistically will be, oh my goodness, is a fight between Terence Crawford and Jaron "Boots" Ennis.
I don't think I think that's going backwards for Terence.
To that point, Jaron doesn't have the kind of accolades. He doesn't sell to the mass and all these. So this fight was perfect timing for both these guys.
During Crawford's post-fight press conference, when Jaron Ennis was mentioned as a potential opponent, the 5-division champion initially dismissed the idea, stating he wouldn't return to the junior middleweight division. For such a fight to move forward, Ennis would need to meet Crawford at another weight. The problem is Crawford will only take fights that bring in huge money, and there are only certain matchups that can deliver that, Hearn explained. You're talking about a different animal in Terence Crawford, a guy with a ring IQ that's simply off the charts. You've got to have the experience and be extremely well-schooled to even compete with him. And that's why I said I like the Boots fight.
Roller coaster, but, you know, we made it to the top. No matter how we made it, you know, and, you know, it's definitely a test to say that anything is possible if you know, work hard at it and you believe in yourself and you have the...
Ennis was once Crawford's mandatory challenger at 147 lbs under the IBF before moving up to 154, where he captured the WBA title by defeating Israel Madrimov last year. That victory saw him elevated from interim to full champion by the sanctioning body. He then cemented his status by stopping Imantas Stanionis in April, adding both the ring and WBA championships to his resume. While preparing for Lima, Ennis also served as a high-level sparring partner for Canelo Alvarez in advance of the Mexican star's showdown with Crawford.
But don't lie or kept to the net and make it seem like I had the opportunity to fight you and I didn't. I never did. You know what I'm saying? And then that one time that I did, we said they called and we said we never heard nothing else back about it. So
right.
I mean, I respect it though. I mean, get your money. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. But don't be capping on the net.
But even with all that high-level training, Alvarez admitted after the defeat that his body failed him. It was an amazing performance by Terence Crawford, he said. Hearn added, "I'm gutted for Canelo, but happy Crawford finally gets to show his greatness." His record hasn't fully reflected that. He's had good wins, but missed chances against other elite names of his era. To do this at 38 is special.
Crawford Canelo fight. Were you surprised by the outcome?
It's boxing, they happy.
No doubt. My other question for you is, with this win, everybody's saying Crawford elevated his status. He's the GOAT. Do you think this win puts him on Mount Rushmore or makes him a GOAT in boxing?
Everybody got their own opinion, so.
We have a tendency to retire fighters too quickly. I think this was a great way for Crawford to go out, but honestly, I believe he could still move down and capture a world title at 160, making him a 6th division champion. Canelo Alvarez wanted the win desperately, but Terence Crawford didn't let it happen. Over 70,000 fans packed Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, and more than 41 million tuned in on Netflix, as Crawford earned a clear, though fairly close, victory over Alvarez.
Park, South Philly.
Yeah.
All right, so they'll kill me if I don't ask you, right?
What?
Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford
Yeah.
wins unanimous decision victory. What was your thoughts on the fight?
I was trying to stay up. It was getting too late, yo. It was like, I think by the time they came on, it was probably like 1 o'clock or something like that.
It was like 1 and some change.
I trained.
Among the millions watching that night was Jaron Ennis. The 28-year-old Philly fighter has repeatedly called out Crawford and has often been compared to the future Hall of Famer. Just weeks before, Alvarez wrapped up camp. He brought in the switch-hitting Ennis as a sparring partner. That decision sparked criticism, with many accusing Ennis of siding with Canelo over Crawford. But despite the backlash and commentary from boxing professionals, Ennis had his own response.
We got a couple more days and y'all gonna see Canelo fighting Crawford, so I ain't got no comment on who gonna win the fight, you dig? If Crawford do what he's supposed to do, he got an option. If he don't beat Canelo. Simple as that.
When asked about the experience of training with Canelo, which marked only his second time training outside Philadelphia, Ennis couldn't hide his excitement. Just having fun being in there with Canelo, he's got 67 fights. So it was cool just sharing the ring with him. I loved that I got the chance to get away, spar Canelo, go fishing, just have fun with my brother and enjoy things like that. I'm moving up in weight and I wanted to experience something different, and I really loved it out there. When pressed on whether he enjoyed his time in camp, his response was simple but telling. Why not? If you're able to share the ring with Canelo, a Hall of Famer, a legend, the face of boxing, that's an experience in itself. The sparring was great. I had a great time. I loved being in there with Canelo.
Guy of that caliber?
Yeah, why not? Why not you be able to share the ring with Canelo and like I said, being there with a Hall of Famer, a legend, and face of, kind of like the face of boxing, why not?
Speaking on how his sparring sessions with Canelo went viral and stirred debate among boxing fans, Ennis admitted he expected the reaction. I already knew it was going to go crazy. Once we posted the picture, I'm like, this is going to go everywhere. You could say it makes the fight more interesting. Everyone will try to tune in a little bit more. I really don't care about the backlash. I'm not gonna lie. I went out there for myself, to start my first 2 weeks in camp with elevation and everything. This was for me, not for anybody else.
I think Crawford's going to get the job done. I am officially picking Crawford to win this fight. It is still 50-50, but obviously...
He says that till he goes to Canelo.
I'm obviously going to say that this is a 60-40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's going to win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
This is going to help Canelo. He's sparring against a great fighter, world champion in Ennis, and like I said before, iron sharpens iron. And maybe it will. But on the other side... It was interesting to hear your side of how, whether it's the overtraining or I think more the mental side. What if Boots is getting the best of him? How does that affect Canelo going into this fight? Why would you want to even put that doubt in your fighter's head going into such...
Legendary boxing analyst Teddy Atlas, however, warned that bringing in Jaron "Boots" Ennis might backfire on the Mexican star. In his view, sparring a young, explosive talent like Ennis could end up draining Alvarez before the September 13th showdown.
He's not me.
Yeah.
You know, as much as a lot of people, you know, say we have similarities and, you know, we switch a lot and we fight a lot. He's not me, you know, and I'm not him. So.
Yeah. Tim had said comparison that like he's like a Chrysler 300.
Preparations were in full swing on both sides, but Alvarez's camp drew extra attention. The reason? Canelo had brought in Jaron "Boots" Ennis for sparring. His goal was clear: get rounds with an elite fighter to sharpen up for Crawford. But the decision wasn't universally praised.
And now, I think Boots brought the best out of Canelo. I don't know how many rounds they may have sparred, if it's true, but if it is true, I'm assuming that Boots may have brought the best out of Canelo Alvarez in that sparring. Showed him different looks, the switch hitting. I'm pretty sure they probably wanted Boots to, you know, emulate Crawford or just to be
good. My opinion is I like who I like. You know, I like Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker.
What do you think?
I'm liking Sugar Ray Leonard. I've been watching a little bit of Sugar Ray Leonard and James Tony. So they my top like guys that I've been watching. You know?
I don't want him leaving it all in the gym. I don't want him in that kind of war during sparring, Atlas warned. Canelo has 65 fights already. You don't risk him in battles that don't count. He explained that sparring with someone as sharp as Ennis should only be done in spots, not as a constant grind. While Crawford is technically older, Atlas stressed that Canelo's body has far more mileage. Adding rounds with Ennis only piles on more wear, raising the question, will Alvarez show fatigue under the lights on fight night?
I think that I would want too many highly, put it this way, I'll get right to the point. I wouldn't want wars with my guy who's been in 65 fights or 60 whatever and is at that, you know, 34.
Never. Always. This is crazy, Chester.
I just didn't want to see
Chester.
I didn't want to see
Chester. You got a Team Crawford shirt on, hoodie on, but you going against me? You going against me? What'd he say, Red?
I said don't get spilled.
No. What'd he say?
He said you just want to see him lose.
Thank you.